guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be talking about my most anticipated releases for 2024 Part 2. I will link Part 1 up in the cards for you guys in case you missed it, which were my most anticipated reads for the first half of the year. Usually I do 2 videos. We do January through June and July through December. However, there are so many books that I wanted to share with you guys today. We're actually going to make this a 3-part series. Today I'm going to be talking about books that are coming out July through September, and then in the fall I'll have an October through December video. That way it'll give more time for the December releases as well. So first up, we're going to start with July. Is The Darkness Within Us by Tricia Levenseller. This is Tricia's newest book. I'm slowly working my way through all of her books because I love her writing. She is known for her sassy, strong female main characters. They have such a feisty nature about them. This is the sequel to The Shadows Between Us, which is a standalone that I read last year and absolutely loved. The tagline for that one is "Woo the Shadow King, kill him and take his kingdom for your own." So we have our main character who is super feisty. Her goal is to kind of woo this magical Shadow King and steal his kingdom from him, but of course there's like a snarky, angsty romance in there. It was originally a standalone, so I'm very curious about what this next book is about. I'm going to reread the first book before I get to it. I have this one on pre-order even, which I never do, so really excited to check it out. Then we have The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is an adult cottagecore cozy fantasy. We have Keela, who works at the Great Library of Elysium. She and her assistant Kaz, which is a sentient spider plant, have spent most of the last 11 years sequestered away with the Empire's most precious spellbooks that protect magic from the city's elite. But a revolution is brewing, and when the library goes up in flames, her and Kaz steal whatever books they can find and flee to a faraway island. She's hoping to lay low and figure out a way to survive before the revolution comes looking for her. So we definitely have like a lower stakes fantasy. The cover alone's amazing. I really enjoy Sarah Beth Durst's writing. It's just really, really fun. So I'm excited to try this new book. Next we have Hearts Overboard by Becky Dean. This is a YA rom-com that I'm putting on this list particularly because I think it will be good for next year's hike-a-thon or even like a summer mermaid marathon type read. This one I'm adding to this list because I'm in like a really intense boat mood. Our main character has recently gone through a heavy breakup and she decides to go on her mom's company cruise to Alaska. She wants to prove to people that she can be fun and adventurous. Stepping out of her comfort zone isn't easy, especially when her long-term nemesis Tanner Woods is also on the ship with his family, but Tanner may know her true self better than she'd like to admit. When he learns of her plan, he offers to help Savannah be adventurous and encourages her to try absolutely everything. So they go on like all these different like excursions and really fun things, so it seems like a great one for summer. Coming out July 23rd, Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love. Now I've been on a guide book, like anything that has guide in the title that's a fiction book has just been really working for me. This one's by India Holton, and I still need to read The Wisteria Society because I started it last year when we were on a cruise and I was loving it, and then I just never finished it, but I really want to because I was loving the writing style. It was really, really fun. This is an adult fantasy read. Rival ornithologists hunt through England for a rare magical bird in this historical fantasy rom-com. This is reminiscent of Indiana Jones but with manners, tea, and helicopter parasols. It sounds like it'll be especially perfect for hike-a-thon, but I may have to get to it before then. Slow Dance by Rainbow Rowell. I'm a big fangirl for Rainbow Rowell. Even her books that I'm kind of like iffy about, I still absolutely love her writing, and her romances are so good. They're so like over the top and cheesy and wonderful. Fangirl is one of my favorite books ever. This is an adult romance. I believe it's Friends to Lovers. I don't know much else about it, but because it's Rainbow Rowell, I'll be checking it out. Near Misses and Cowboy Kisses by Katrina Amell. This is a YA standalone rom-com. Another rivals to lovers romance between a Nebraska cowboy and a California girl thrust together on the Oregon Trail. That was all I needed to hear. Again, another one that I'm going to be saving for a hike-a-thon. We have Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan. I believe this is part of a YA series. With her whole life collapsed, Ray still had books, but dying, she seizes a second chance at living, a magical bargain that lets her enter the world of her favorite fantasy series. She wakes in a castle on the edge of a hellish chasm in a kingdom on the brink of war. So this just sounds amazing. Sounds like it'll be a good one for a Retoldathon, and I really like Sarah Reese Brennan as well. Comes out on July 30th. Also on July 30th, we have Kill the Beast by Serena Valentino. This is part of the Villain series, which is one of the series that I have left to finish. This is a huge like Disney villain series where we're following from the villain's perspective. These are all like shorter books, so there's quite a few of them. The first one being Fairest of All, I believe, with the Queen from Snow White. These are individually about the different villains, however they do tie together. I've read 3 so far and they all do have things from the last book, so I do recommend going in order. And this one follows Gaston, which is interesting because we already had one following the Beast, so I'm really curious to see by the time I get to this how everything like ties up, but adding this one to the list. Then we have Castle of the Curse by Romina Garber. This is a young adult dark gothic romance. The house is always hungry. After a mysterious attack claims the lives of her parents, all Estella has left is the determination to solve the case. Suffering from survival's guilt so intense that she might be losing her grip on reality, she accepts an invitation to live overseas with an estranged aunt at an ancestral Spanish castle in La Sombra. Beneath its gothic facade, La Sombra harbors a trove of family secrets, and Estella begins to suspect that her parents' death may be linked to their past. So this one sounds like a great one for fall. Sounds like we could possibly have some like vampires or something else, but I love like a gothic, slightly spooky read. Okay, next we have August. Coming out on August 1st, Dawn of the Wolf Knight by Elise Kova. This is part of the Married to Magic series. I believe these are considered new adult. The first one I read could be considered YA. These are all retellings as well, like loose retelling. First one was like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. These all follow different characters, but they're set in the same world. I've been told and informed that they do tie together, and I believe some of the characters even enter the other books later on. I do recommend reading this one in order now. Dawn of the Wolf Knight is the 5th book in the series. I'm not sure what it's a retelling of. I'm guessing like Red Riding Hood, but the cover looks amazing. I'm excited to check them out. Then we have The Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings. This is first in a new duology. In 1926, the Reapers, once human vampires with a terrifying affliction, are on the rise in New York. But the Saints family, thriving Reaper hunting enterprise, holds reign over the city, giving them more power than even the organized criminals who run the nightclubs. 18-year-old Elise Saint, home after 5 years in Paris, is the reluctant heir to the empire. Only one thing weighs heavier on Elise's mind than her family's obligations: knowledge that Harlem Reapers want her dead. We're getting a lot of these like 1920s speakeasy gothic vampire ghosty books, and I'm here for it. And this one comes out on August 6th. Also on August 6th is Death at Mooring House by Maureen Johnson. I read Maureen Johnson's Name of the Star series last year and I really enjoyed it. I still need to read her like other YA murder mystery, but I'm adding this one to the list. Fire wasn't Marlo Wexler's fault. Dates should be hot, but not hot enough to warrant literal firefighters. Akila, the girl Marlo has been in love with for years, will never go out with her again. No one dates an accidental arsonist. With her house-sitting career up in flames, it seems the universe owes Marlo a summer job. And that's how she ends up at Morning House, a mansion built on an island in the 1920s and abandoned shortly thereafter. It's easy enough giving tours, low risk of fire, high chance of getting bored, talking about the stained glass and prohibition. Oh, and deaths. Did anyone mention the deaths? Sounds so good. We have Better Left Buried by Mary E. Roach. Again, another like kind of spooky young adult standalone. Lucy Preston just wants to go on vacation, the beach, swimsuits, sleeping in kind. Not the impromptu stop in a creepy small town at the edge of the forest kind. But being the daughter of a famous private detective means that sometimes your beach vacation goes off the rails a little bit. Because the first thing Lucy's mom does takes her to the abandoned amusement park for a clandestine meeting. Except instead of a meeting, they find a body. I'm always looking for more books set in amusement parks as well. Glass Houses by Madeline Ashby. I believe this is a adult thriller. It says it's good for fans of Glass Onion and Black Mirror. I love Glass Onion, by the way. I just watched it recently and that movie was so good. A group of employees and their CEO celebrate the sales of their remarkable emotion mapping AI algorithm crash onto a not quite deserted tropical island. Luckily, those who survived have found a beautiful, fully stocked private palace with all the latest technological updates, though one without connection to the outside world. The house, however, has more secrets than anyone would have guessed and much darker reason for being built and left behind. I mean, sounds perfect for me. It's on an island. It's got some cool, weird technology. I love books about apps and like companies having to like survive, so sounds great. This one's coming out on August 13th. Also on August 13th, we have Under the Surface by Diana Urban. I am currently reading her Lying in the Deep book and I'm really enjoying it, so I'm excited for this one. I believe it is a young adult standalone, an epic survivor thriller about 4 teens who get lost in the Paris catacombs, a gripping story of love, danger, betrayal, and hope, even when all seems lost. I am always looking for more survival books, so adding to the list. Coming out on August 20th, 20th, one of my most anticipated, we have Wisteria by Adalyn Grace. This is third in the Belladonna trilogy, which is a gothic, lightly spooky, romantic, young adult trilogy. It's set in the Victorian era. We've got tea parties, we've got murder, we've got magic, we've got a delightful gothic romance, and this book follows a character that I'm really excited to follow. I'm loving the cover. Such a good one for fall. One of my all-time favorite series so far. Also on August 20th, we have The Third Wife of Faraday House. This, I believe, is an adult standalone. Till Death Do Us Part, November 1816. Restless but naive Emmeline Fitzpatrick is desperate to escape her stifling life in foggy Halifax. Her guardian is lining up repugnant suitors, but Emmeline has her eyes set on a handsome lieutenant in the British Navy. She needs to persuade him to propose, or her one chance of happiness will be gone forever. But when Emmeline's hopes end in scandal, she finds herself with only one suitor, the wealthy and enigmatic Captain Graves, having already lost 2 wives to tragic circumstances. The unfortunate widower is seeking a new companion in his cloistered seaside manor, Faraday House, or at least that is what Emmeline has been told, because when she arrives, she is horrified to discover the second Mrs. Graves, Georgina, has not yet died. Like a spooky, gothic, murder mystery on a seaside manor. Sounds amazing. Also on August 20th, we have My Salty Mary by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. Now, I have not read any of this series. I have not read the My Lady Jane series. I'm not sure if My Lady Jane connects to the Mary series or not, but I'm going to read them in order. But I wanted to include this on here because, one, I'm just really excited to try the series. I know we're getting a movie sometime soon. And this is a historical fantasy that mixes pirates and The Little Mermaid. So, I mean, we gotta have it. I'm gonna read them all and let you guys know if you can read this individually or not, but very excited. We have Drown Me with Dreams by Gabby Burton. This is the second in the Sing Me to Sleep duology, which I am going to start for Mermaid Marathon, so I'm hoping that I love it and that I'm really excited for the second book. We're following a siren who has water powers, and that's really all I know, but it sounds incredible. We have The Temptation of Magic by Megan Scott. This one's on here because this one was actually my fairy loot for May, because I think it came out in the UK before it's coming out in the US. In the US, it's coming out in September. This is part of a new young adult fantasy series. As an Imperial, Nicole has the ability to kill any deadly supernatural, but if her power ever awakened, the Wake, the organization that governs supernaturals, would force her to be their loyal huntress, or kill her like they did her mother. So we've got a nice little magical fantasy. And lastly, we have September. So we have Immortal Dark. This is part of a new young adult trilogy or duology. I actually have this one pre-ordered as well because I am loving the special edition, so I hope that I love it. This says it's The Cruel Prince meets Ninth House, which makes me a little bit nervous. It's a dangerously romantic dark academia fantasy. It began long before my time, but someone has always been hunting my family. Orphaned heiress Kaiden Adane grew up far from the arcane society she was born into, where human bloodlines gain power through vampire companionship. When her sister June disappears, Kaiden is convinced a vampire stole her, the very vampire bound to their family, the cruel yet captivating Sisianos Sagad. Hopefully I'm saying that right. To find June, Kaiden must infiltrate the elite Uxlig University, where students study to ensure peaceful coexistence between humans and vampires and inherit their family legacies. We've got dark academia, we've got vampires, we probably have a murder in here at some point, so a great one for fall. Coming out September 3rd is Us in Ruins by Rachel Moore. First of all, the cover sucked me in because this is one of the prettiest covers I've seen, and then the description like really hooked me in. So we have Margot, and she is on the quest to uncover and reassemble an ancient and cursed vase with the help of a boy who went missing in 1932, because it's the only way to put them back together. The mythical vase of Venus Aurelia hasn't been seen since 1932, but Margot Rhodes is determined to change that. Drawn by the vase's supposed magical properties, Margot embarks on her school's archaeology trip, Pompeii. It's her first time holding a shovel, but she has something else that no one else does: lost teenage explorer Van Keen's journal. Poring over the poetic entries that serve as a map to the vase's missing shards, Margot finds herself falling in love with the boy who wrote it centuries ago. She's shocked when her search leads her to a statue that looks exactly like Van, and then the statue comes to life. I mean, a treasure hunting book. We've got a beautiful statue boy coming to life. It sounds great. Haunt Sweet Home by Sarah Pinsker. This is an adult thriller, I believe, and we're on the set of a kitschy reality TV show with stage scares transformed into an unnerving reality in this spooky ghost story. When aimless 20-something Mara lands a job as the night shift production assistant on her cousin's ghost hunting / home makeover reality TV show Haunt Sweet Home, she quickly determines her new role will require a healthy attitude towards duplicity. But as she hides fog machines in the woods and improvises scares to spook new homeowners, a series series of unnerving incidents on set and a creepy new coworker force Mara to confront whether the person she's truly been deceiving and hiding from all along is herself. I have been loving reality show books or books on TV sets, so I'm very pumped for this. We have Lucy Undying by Kiersten White. Really excited for this one, coming out September 10th. I absolutely adore Kiersten White's retelling of Frankenstein, The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, and this is a retelling of Dracula told from Lucy's perspective, who is one of Dracula's first victims. All for the vampire reads, perfect for Not So Scary-a-thon. I believe this one is adult and the Frankenstein one was YA, but I'm not entirely sure. We have A Dark Drowning Tide by Allison Saft. We have another one from Allison Saft. I still need to read one of her books finally. We have Lorelei Caskie, and she is a folklorist with a quick temper and an even quicker wit. She's on an expedition with 6 eccentric nobles in search of fabled spring. The magical spring promises untold power, which the king wants to harness his secure reign of the country of Brunestad. Lorelei is determined to use this opportunity to prove herself and make her wildest, most impossible dream to become a naturalist, able to travel freely to lands she has only ever dreamed about. The expedition goes off to a harrowing start when its leader, Lorelei's beloved mentor, is murdered in the quarters aboard their ship. The suspects are 5 remaining expedition mates, each one with their own motive. So we've got a nice little murder mystery set on a boat with some kind of folklore vibes, so it sounds perfect. Kind of reminding me of A Study in Drowning. We have The Lies We Conjure by Sarah Henning. Says this one is Knives Out meets Inheritance Games. Ruby and her sister Rin are normal middle-class Colorado high school students working a summer job at the local Renaissance Fair Fest to supplement their meager college savings. When an eccentric old lady asks them to impersonate her long-absent grandchildren at a fancy dinner party at the jaw-dropping rate of $2 grand each for a single night, Rin insists it's no-brainer. Make some cash, have some fun, do a good deed. But less than an hour into the evening at the mysterious Hegemony Manor, Ruby is sure she must have lost her mind to have agreed to this. I mean, a spooky manor with a mysterious activity. We're getting so many good fall reads. That one's coming out September 17th. Also coming out September 17th is Night Owls by A.R. Vishny. This is a thrilling paranormal YA romance debut steeped in folklore. 2 Estries, owl-shifting female vampires from Jewish tradition, face New York's monstrous underworld to save the girl one of them loves with the help from the boy one of them fears before they are all lost forever. Enough said. Next we have Seasons of Flesh and Flame by A.G. Howard. I believe this one's coming out in September, but I'm not entirely sure. We've waited 2 years for this sequel and I am so excited. I believe this is a young adult duology. It could be a series. Second in the Shades of Rust and Ruin series. I absolutely love A.G. Howard's writing style. Shades of Rust and Ruin is a retelling of the Goblin King. We have our main character who has like a family curse where her family members are dying on Halloween. She has this really cool artistic journal that she uses to kind of get out her grief and sadness. And then one day she accidentally stumbles into her journal and all of her characters and everything are alive. And so she goes on this magical adventure and it is so good. It's gothic and really fun. It's got great Halloween vibes, so definitely perfect for that time of year. Not scary, but definitely a little bit of spookiness in there. Lots of talk of different kinds of cool food and it's just very unique and I'm so excited for this one because the ending of the first one was a brutal cliffhanger. Okay, now for almost my most exciting book of the year, The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig. I'm so excited for this one. I have 2 copies pre-ordered. And you guys, before this year, I have never pre-ordered more than like 2 books, but I did get some gift cards and things for Christmas, so I have some things coming. What happened was I pre-ordered this one through Target and then I saw the beautiful gold edition coming out through Barnes & Noble that was a cheaper price, so I pre-ordered both and I'll just have to like sell or use one for a giveaway. But this is the story of Hazel, a young healer navigating a ruthless court to save the life of a king, grappling with a pantheon of gods and questionable agendas as she fights for agency and true love in her own life as the goddaughter of none other than Death himself. I love stories where Death is the main character. I don't know why. Erin A. Craig is so good at these like slightly spooky young adult books. This one I believe is a retelling, but I can't remember exactly what for, but I will definitely be reading it this year. Then coming out on September 24th, we have Space Oddity by Catherine M. Valente. I did not know this was coming. I read Space Opera 2 years ago for Galaxy-a-thon and I absolutely loved it. I believe it's young adult, but I'm not sure. Sci-fi at the time standalone about the alien race and they come to Earth and they're like, hello, we're here to destroy you unless you have a competitor for our galactic competition, and this one random kid gets taken to space to musically compete to save our planet. It is really wild and fun. Think like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy style. I loved it so much. I thought it was very humorous and weird and quirky. I did not know we were getting a second book. I don't know what it's about, but I am so pumped this is happening. Also coming out September 24th is Aisle 9. It's Black Friday and the apocalypse Apocalypse is on sale. Ever since the world filled with portals to hell, bloodthirsty demons started popping out on the regular. Jasper's life has gotten worse and worse. A teenage nobody with no friends or family, he is plagued by the life he can't remember and the person he is sure he's supposed to be. Jasper spends his days working as a checkout clerk at the Here for Your Discount Mart, where a hell portal in aisle 9 means danger every shift. At least at the Mart, he can be near his crush Kyle Kwan, a junior member of the monster fighting Vanguard, though Kyle really seems to hate Jasper for reasons he doesn't remember or understand. This sounds, again, like quirky and silly and fun, reminding me kind of like the Gates from John Connolly, but exactly what I'm looking for. And then lastly, we have A Constellation of Minor Bears coming out on September 24th by Jen Ferguson. Before that awful Saturday, Molly used to be inseparable from her brother Hank and his best friend Trey. The indoor climbing accident that left Hank with a traumatic brain injury filled Molly with anger. While she knows the accident wasn't Trey's fault, she will never forgive him for being there and failing to stop the damage. She can't forgive herself for not being there either. Determined to go on the trio's post-graduation hike of the Pacific Crest Trail, even without Hank, Molly packs her bag, but when her parents put Trey in charge of looking out for her, she is stuck backpacking with the person who incites her to the easiest anger. Now, this one might not be something I'll enjoy. I don't know how heavy-hitting or dark it's going to be on like trauma and grief, but because they're hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, I wanted to put it on here because it might be good for hike-a-thons, so we're gonna have to find out. Okay, you guys, so that is everything for my most anticipated releases. You can see why I didn't want to keep going because there were so many books in September in particular that I wanted to share with you all, but don't they all sound amazing? So let me know which ones sound the best to you down below in the comments and which ones you plan on getting to. Let me know some others that you're excited about coming out soon. Stay tuned for my third version of this coming out in a couple months, and I'll see you guys next time on The Bright Side.